What's up, gang? Happy Tuesday. It's time for Bets Against the Spread. It's the championship round. Matt LaMarca, Joel Holka here to break down just two games and probably some NBA Top Shot too. Maddie, how you doing? How was your weekend? I haven't talked to you since the weekend. How'd you do?
Yeah, it was a pretty good weekend for me. I went 3-1
Nice.
in the 4 games, with my loss being the Chiefs. I think that one could have went either way. You know, there was a pretty big injury in that game you may or may not be aware of.
Okay. I've heard about it. Yeah.
My biggest win was I saw a really bad Kamara line on his rushing yards prop right after Latavius Murray got ruled out. So I hammered that for a couple units. Nice, easy dub. You basically had the over on that thing locked up in the middle of the third quarter. So felt good. You know, it was a good weekend.
Joe, you did pretty well because Stephon Diggs always does well for you, right?
So that's the thing, man. The thing about getting a little too confident is everything just goes well with Stephon Diggs, like 80% of the field, just wrong, not playing him at captain. And then I just decided to just give all that back. I'm a nice guy. I'm just going to give that back to the community on the next 3 or 4 slates. And I basically got back to even, which is kind of frustrating because if you're playing a lot of tournaments, you're just hoping to have at least one of those slates go well enough to where you have a profitable weekend. That's kind of where I'm at. I was a little bit aggressive after my win, and it kind of blew up in my face a little bit, but that's the way she goes. I know LaMarca had a good week because he's smiling. He's talking about Top Shot. He's trying to figure out how many packs he's about to buy in about an hour, man. So I'm glad that at least one of us had an enjoyable divisional round. I don't know if mine was necessarily enjoyable.
How do we characterize this championship round? It's not really a showdown slate, but it's also only 2 games. It's kind of like a semi-showdown. Do you approach it any differently than you approached last weekend, Super Wildcard weekend? Because obviously the Super Bowl's one thing. You're looking for trying to get away from chalk. You know everybody's going to go with certain guys. You're trying to find a small advantage. In this one, you have a little bit more room to work, but do you almost treat it like the Super Bowl, Joe?
So we had a little bit of a test run in the wildcard weekend where it was some smaller slates. I know that was 3-game slates. These 2-game slates, if we're being completely honest with ourselves here, these 2-game slates are not ideal, in my opinion. So I think that your only real chance at taking down like a tournament from a fantasy perspective is basically just to pick the right game that goes off and hope that you have at least one piece in that other game that doesn't do well. I don't know. LaMarca, have you had much success with these 2-game slates? I have not. Personally,
I do think there's still an edge. You have to be willing to get weird. You know, like looking at because they did offer Saturday and Sunday only slates on DraftKings last week.
True.
And you could get, you know, like a Traquan Smith still at 2% on those just single day slates. So you have to be willing to do some things that other people are not willing to do. And it can work out in your favor. So in that regard, Dieter, I do think you need to have a little bit of a showdown mindset where you're going to be doing, you know, things to try and just ensure you have a unique lineup. Do a double tight end, you know, do a tight end in the flex. Leave a bunch of salary on the table. Put a stack the defense against your quarterback. Like do some interesting things that you wouldn't normally do that are going to ensure that you have a unique lineup.
Well, we're talking about betting. Enough DFS. Let's get to the good stuff. Let's make some real cash without having to play up against a bunch of people. Let's go us against the books. And again, 2 games, so we can get into some of the weeds here. I did well last weekend on totals. I got the under on both of the Sunday games. Felt real good about that. I know everyone hates playing an under, but it's playoff football, and honestly, I wasn't feeling anybody, and that worked out. Plus Browns 10 points. That felt pretty good too. We're not going to talk about what happened on Saturday. First game on Sunday, Tampa Bay, Green Bay. Battle of the crappier bays. The consensus line right now we're seeing floating around is about 3.5 with a total of 50.5. And if it is indeed cold and snowy in Green Bay, how do we feel about that total, Matt LaMarca?
Well, for starters, I was fully anticipating that I was going to be on Tampa Bay this week. I thought Green Bay, you know, like they feel like the public team at the moment. They're super hot. They've played great. I think they have honestly moved to now they are the betting favorites to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they are.
So I was fully expecting to be selling high on Green Bay, but then this line gets posted and it's 3.5. I mean, what am I missing? Why is Green Bay not favored by 6 points here?
Well, a couple of things, if we can get into it a little bit. I think Tampa's blitz is going to force the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands. And if you force Aaron Rodgers to do the quick passing game with those receivers, that's problematic. You want Aaron Rodgers back there getting that super protection, making things happen kind of on the run. Brady looked really good against the Saints. So now
No, he did not.
I mean, he looked better than Drew Brees. I mean, like, listen, I thought he was
that's
actually
a pretty low bar to clear, though. No?
I thought he actually looked pretty good. I thought he played winning playoff football. He's not Mahomes. He's not Rodgers. He's not going to make any dazzling plays, but he made the smart play every time. When he missed in the right spot. I know that that's feeling like, oh, you're really nitpicking there, but like that kind of stuff matters. I don't think that he threw an interceptable ball the entire game. And when you're not going to turn the ball over, that's the first part of winning playoff games. Don't turn the damn ball over, especially if you don't have the ability to really air it out. I think people maybe are buying too much into Tampa Bay's running game, which then gives them some credence. But Tampa is the best team in the NFL at stopping the run. And if you can get Aaron Rodgers into a true drop back situation, that's not ideal. They live off of play action. They need the run game. They're a wide zone offense. And Tampa absolutely whooped him up earlier this season. It was a long time ago, but they whooped him up this season because they took Rodgers out of play action. So I think that's honestly where the line is right now. I think this is a lot of respect being given to Tampa's defense. And I don't really know how to feel about it, but I guess I get it.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is that, yes, the Bucs ended up winning by 10 points against the Saints. They had 21 points off of turnovers. They won the turnover battle 4-0. They were basically gifted that game by Drew Brees and the Saints offense.
Agreed.
And it's sad that that's how Drew Brees' career is going to end, assuming that he does retire as expected. But they played just a atrocious offensive football game. And it comes out after that, Drew Brees now hates Michael Thomas, which I don't understand why that would be the case. But I mean, he didn't throw to him. So all of a sudden,
you drop it twice. Yeah.
all of a sudden, they're working Alvin Kamara like he's Derrick Henry, just giving him 25 touches in between the tackles, just grinding. You've got a Ferrari, so let's put him into rush hour traffic. I just don't understand what the Saints are doing that week. And now they have to take on Aaron Rodgers, who, yes, he did not play well against Tampa early in the season. Aaron Rodgers has been tremendous this year.
He's the MVP.
You mentioned the blitz. Now, granted, his numbers have declined when you blitz him as compared to when he is not under pressure, but he still has an 89.5 PFF grade against the blitz this season, 18 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, 7.6 yards per attempt. So, I just don't think you can get this guy out of a rhythm right now. He's playing too well.
I don't know. I really like Tampa Bay's linebackers, and I think fast linebackers have proven problematic again against Kyle Shanahan style offenses. So we'll see how that goes. Are you just going to pound Green Bay then? Or are you just going to take those points and laugh and laugh and laugh?
I'm still undecided as to how I'm approaching this game. The one thing that really does scare me a little bit is that Vita Vea might be back for the Bucs.
Yeah.
Big nose tackle on the interior. Number 3 rated Pro Football Focus inside defender. He only played 5 games this season, but he's an impact player. Yeah. And if he's back, we saw this Tampa defense start the year as this really elite unit and kind of slowly fade. I do think that will certainly improve the defense. Rodgers is still going to be able to pick apart that secondary. But if he gets some, if they get pressure on him and can disrupt him, as you have suggested, he might not be able to pick them apart as much as some think he will be able to.
What stands out to you, Joe? What's something that you're really keying in on?
Yeah, welcome to the show, Joe Holka.
Yeah, sorry.
Thanks for the breather, by the way, guys. I got my top
Take her
shots
easy,
ready. I am holstered and ready to go with that. So I needed that extra 5 minutes or whatever. So thanks, guys. Anyways, Tom Brady, 14th conference title game. That's something. I think that's reasonable, going for his 7th Super Bowl ring. So I'll give you like at least a couple of the things that I think the Bucs have at least in their favor. So I think, kind of as Dieter was saying, I think they're confident that they can at least make the Packers a one-dimensional team, right? So if they can stop the run, where they're going to be sitting back there and Aaron Rodgers, at that point, Todd Bowles has got to figure out some creative ways to get pressure, and I think they will be able to do that. So I like that side of this scenario for the Bucs. Also, I think on the offensive side for the Bucs, like we know what they're going to do for the Packers, right? Alexander's probably going to take away Mike Evans, a wide receiver that has been very cornerback, I guess, pressured at times, like where he doesn't do very well against some of the best in the league. We've seen it time and times again. He scores last week on his only catch, but outside of that, he has been slowed down by these guys. So there's that. Obviously, we had the Antonio Brown injury, which is a concern. But I think there's a chance that they could use play action well enough to get someone like Chris Godwin open. Obviously, the Packers do a very good job at covering tight ends. So I think Chris Godwin could be in for a really big game here. So I think that the advantage probably is for the Bucs, at least in that regard. I think my favorite bet in this game so far might be the over, just because I think that both teams are going to be passing so much that there could be a lot of opportunities just for these two teams to stack up plays, right? These were two of the top offenses in the entire league this year. The Packers led the NFL 31.8 points per game. They've gone over in 3 straight games. So I kind of I'm on the side of this game might be a little bit sneaky for points. I think in DFS, people are going to be all over game number 2 with the Bills and Chiefs, but I think this one's kind of sneaky overall, I guess, for points.
I like that idea. I guess, can Tampa Bay keep up? If Green Bay is in fact going to be able to air it out, can Tampa put together enough on offense to make it happen? Because honestly, if you break down just sort of the 4 quadrants, right? Tampa Bay's offense is solid and can be better than solid. Their defense is above average, and it's definitely much better than Green Bay's defense. We know that Green Bay's offense is probably the best unit in this entire operation, but it does have flaws, and it might get knocked out of its own rhythm. It likes to be a front runner. I do wonder if Tampa Bay, we know they have the weapons, but can Brady keep up with Rodgers if it is a shootout? What do you think about that?
I think he can. I think that this is a situation where I think the weapons is what you kind of have to focus on. I know the Packers, they have Devontae Adams, but man, I still think that Godwin is super underrated, especially in this specific matchup. Like when the pieces come together for one of your best players, I think that's something we should be paying a little bit more attention to. I think that this game is an interesting one. I want to, like, my brain is telling me Packers, for the record, LaMarca, so I'm with you on that. But I think this one, I don't know if I necessarily saw the line as being super out of whack, maybe as you did when you first saw it. But the Packers, I mean, I've got some blinders here just because everyone just hates the Packers so much where I am. And I'm just not a big Aaron Rodgers fan as a human.
Just not a Rodgers fan.
Yeah, so I don't know. Both these teams, not who I wanted to see in the NFC Championship game.
I do think that weather could be a factor here, and I really do want to keep an eye on that because Tampa will be A-okay with not having a shootout. Their entire goal is to not have a shootout. They want, limited possessions, kind of classic playoff football, whereas Green Bay is definitely going to want to run up the score because they can't trust their defense to not allow points, especially late. If Tampa has any run game at all, it's kind of sayonara for the Green Bay defense. Like I just don't see them stopping the pass, and if they don't stop the run, then what do they have? But if it's sludgy and snowy, that might be a big underplay, and I wouldn't be shocked to see the line drop down a point or two on the total if it does get that way. So I don't know if this is the right time to take the under and kind of bet on bad weather, but there's something to keep an eye on there because it is a game that is exposed to the elements. Unlike, Kurt Warner wants every game to be indoors in the playoffs. I don't buy into that. I like the elements. I like a little bit of snow. Yeah, of course he would. The guy who played his entire career, save for the years with the Giants, indoors. I mean, I can't believe that he wants all of those games indoors. But this should be, if nothing else, this game should be fascinating. Whereas I have a strange vibe in my chest that Buffalo and Kansas City might just be a blowout. Kind of breaking down those 4 quadrants again. Like Buffalo's well coached on defense, but like they're not going to stop Patrick Mahomes if he plays, and the expectations at this juncture are he's going to play. Kansas City's defense isn't very good either. They might not be able to stop Josh Allen, but like, who do you want to shoot at, Mahomes or Josh Allen? Sorry, Stephon Diggs, you're awesome, but like, I'm going to take the Chiefs, and I'm going to take them 10 times out of 10. Am I missing something here, Matt LaMarca? Am I missing something with
I
this
think
matchup?
you're selling this Bills defense short.
Really? Okay,
This
tell
Bills
me about it.
defense has been playing much better over the second half of the season. I mean, they just
No
held
doubt.
the team to 3 points.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I mean, it was Lamar Jackson. You have to be able to throw the ball in the playoffs.
Fair, but they're 8th in weighted defensive DVOA, which looks at the back half of the season games and places a higher emphasis on that. If you look at just weighted DVOA in general, meaning offense and defense over the second half of the season, Buffalo is the best team in football right now. And I've kind of been a late arriver on the Buffalo bandwagon. I have not been super bullish on this team, but I've seen all that I need to see. I think that if this line, now that's the biggest problem in my eyes. The line right now is not where I want it to be at.
Where do you want it to be?
3.
Yeah.
I want it to get to 3.5 at a minimum.
Okay.
Preferably 4.
Yeah, I bet.
But if it gets to 4, and again, I think that could happen because we're still dealing with some uncertainty in the Kansas City quarterback room.
Right.
If Mahomes is confirmed in, I do think that this line could budge a bit.
Do you think if Mahomes didn't get injured, and obviously we're dealing with extreme hypotheticals here, but if Mahomes was, after that game, they said, yeah, he was ruled out of the game, he was definitely going to play next Sunday, where do you think the line would have come in at?
3.5.
Okay. So if you can get 4, that'd be great. that'd be fading the public, right? I mean, that'd be the play.
I mean, I do still think that I am on the Bills side. Like, I think that the Bills might be not the better team, but they're playing better at the moment on both sides of the ball. Like the biggest like weakness, again, breaking the game into quadrants, like you've been saying, the Kansas City defense is the worst unit in this game.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. At the same time, their offense is a step perhaps above where Buffalo's offense is, and Buffalo's offense is absolutely awesome.
Where's the Chief defense bad, though, LaMarca? It's bad against the run. The Bills don't want to run.
They can't. The Bills cannot run. They straight up cannot run. I mean, neither of these teams can run the ball. I guess Kansas City can fake it a little bit, but both of these teams can't stop the run, but neither of these teams can actually run the ball. So It's basically, who's the better quarterback, Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes? I mean, Allen's been absolutely awesome, but I think there's a pretty obvious answer there.
I think the Chiefs did a good job at kind of throwing some different looks in terms of pressure on Josh Allen the last time they faced each other too, like keeping him at least like somewhat off balance. So I don't know. I think it's it's a very similar spot in terms of matchup as the Ravens, though. Like the Ravens are pretty good at defending kind of the boundaries and like the kind of the longer type of plays. But we said it about Stephon Diggs last week. Everyone wanted it. Nope, Cole Beasley game. Well, Stephon Diggs is just going to go into the slot and catch 10 balls. That's going to happen in this game also. I think that I'm with you, LaMarca, that like the Bills, like I want the Bills to win so bad. I really do. But I think that there's certain things that make me a little bit nervous about this Chiefs team. We still haven't seen the best of them this year. It just doesn't matter. They can like coast the entire season and then somehow they just turn it on. And that's not really a recipe for success. But they do have a coach with just probably the biggest balls in the entire league, which is amazing. So I can respect that. I don't know. I'm a little bit nervous. I think a little bit more highly of the Chiefs defense than it sounds like you do, LaMarca. I think they're at least a team that can create turnovers. I think on special teams, pretty clearly advantage goes to the Chiefs there. I think there's a lot of different things that point towards the Chiefs coaching, intangibles, like special teams, like the weapons. There's just so many different ways that this offense can score. It's just if Mahomes is in, I hope you're right about the Bills defense, LaMarca, because that's going to be a big part of this game. Last time they ran the ball a ton against the Bills. They were willing to do that with CEH. Will we get him back in this game, or is it going to be Darrell Williams again? I don't know. So it's a really weird game because I'm with you, Dieter, that like we know what they should be doing against these defenses, but both teams don't really want to do that on offense. So it's kind of a weird game. I think that we kind of know what's going to happen in game number 1. This game could go a million different ways.
Absolutely.
Here's a question for you guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Out of the Chiefs' last 9 games,
Mhm.
how many have they covered?
Well, one, they pushed one, right?
They pushed the Saints.
They pushed the Saints. They have not covered otherwise.
They have not covered otherwise. Like
How many games have they
when
won
do
though?
we realize that the Chiefs juggernaut is not so juggernautish?
Well, okay, let me throw this at you because I was in on Browns. I made money on the Browns plus 10 on the exact same logic that the Chiefs don't cover, that they dick around, and that they'll get got. And I had Browns money line on a half unit just because who knew? And honestly, I mean, that game could have gone a lot differently had the fumble touchback situation not happened. But you cannot ignore the fact that Patrick Mahomes went out there against a Browns defense that's pretty damn good and
Oh,
just
they're
went
terrible. What are you
Oh,
talking about?
it's okay. Nevertheless, fine. He went up against a playoff opponent who shall not be named and just went pop, 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 pop. And then he gets injured, but they still won. Like they just went across. He could not be stopped. He could not be stopped at the beginning of the game. It was not an issue. Buffalo doesn't rush the passer. They can't stop the run. They do have good coverage, guys. I'll give them that. Their linebackers are probably a little bit too heavy to be excellent in pass coverage. I just don't see how Mahomes doesn't go pop, pop, pop again. Not when you have Tyreek Hill, who, much like everyone was saying with Stephon Diggs, everyone's like, you can't go Tyreek Hill in this game. You can't do it against the Browns. It's not going to be as weak, except all he did was get points. The entire Cleveland Browns defense knew that they were going to give the ball to Hill and Kelsey, and they couldn't stop him anyway. They both had like 10 catches in the game, 200-something yards combined. I just don't know how the Bills stop them. They're good. They're well coached. They'll try to find a way. I just don't know if there is a way, in which case then congratulations, Josh Allen. You have to stop just an absolute offensive juggernaut, one of the best offenses we've seen in recent NFL history. I have a hard time seeing it happen. I get being in on the Bills 3.5, 4. I got a Bills, Super Bowl or AFC champion ticket from a while back that I'm hoping cashes. But like, dude, Mahomes can just mess around and get this team to the Super Bowl. You're right. They don't cover, but that doesn't mean they don't win. You say, oh yeah, they've pushed,
Is this not the bets against the spread show?
I'm telling you that this line is too close for me to not feel comfortable with them actually covering. This is not a field goal game now. This is a touchdowns only game. And I know that they kicked a lot of field goals against the Browns. Credit to the Browns, but this feels like, one, I'm taking the over. I know it's 43.5, but I'm taking the over. And two, I think it's just touchdowns galore. I mean, I think we probably get 70 points on the board in this game.
And on the against the spread thing, just look at some of the teams they've played, man. Like if we're just going back to it, like he just played the Browns. They just played the Chargers. They just played the Falcons. They have a Saints game in there that was close. So I'll give you that. They have a Dolphins game in there that was close. Broncos. Like it's just, this team didn't care, man. They knew they were going to get the bye either way. So it's just, I guess, why go out there and play full bore? I guess my scare here is that we still haven't seen the best from this team. And that's really scary. I also think that how do you beat Mahomes? You try and keep him off the field. You try and play ball control a little bit.
Right.
If this turns into a game where there's going to be a ton of possessions for Mahomes, that's really, really bad news, I think, for this Bills team. And I don't think they can play ball control on the other side. I want to believe in the Bills. I'm like really struggling to make an argument for it.
To be fair, there is one team, I think, in the NFL that might be able to shoot out with the Kansas City Chiefs, and that might be the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
I just don't see them winning it because, as Joe just astutely mentioned, like you got to be able to run the ball. I mean, they cannot. It is laughable how bad they are in the run game. I mean, they just get like a yard. It was to the point where they threw it on the first 20 plays of their game against Baltimore. I mean, they're just like, why even bother? Why pretend that these things still matter?
As someone that had 0 Singletary last week across any contest I was in, that was the most enjoyable way that game could have started.
I can't blame them. It was a good strategy. Their run game sucks, but that's what you need. You need to limit the opportunities for Patrick Mahomes to absolutely burn you. And by the way, they'll be smart. They'll play the full cover 2 shell. They have good safeties. They'll force Mahomes to take the dink and the dunk. But so did the Browns, and he did it. Like, he had no problem taking the dink and dunk. That was my big concern. Oh, Mahomes will get bored, and Mahomes will do something stupid because he's so good, he'll eventually just decide, I want to go over the top, and he'll throw an dumb interception. He just didn't do it. He just didn't do it. He played smart playoff football. As wild as this sounds, he's still maturing as a quarterback, even though he's got a Super Bowl and an MVP and is going to be one of the greats of all time. Like, he's still figuring it out. I thought he figured out a lot of stuff against the Browns, and that's bad news for the Bills, who are a really good team, but like not well-rounded enough to beat an offense like this. Not at least in my opinion.
I guess where I am like kind of just stuck is like everything clearly broke. I shouldn't say everything. Things broke right for the Chiefs last week.
Yeah.
You know, they had the fumble go out of bounds. Like if that rule didn't exist and the Browns score a touchdown before the half.
Yeah.
Stating to my wallet. Good God.
Like they win the turnover battle 2-1.
Right.
I don't know. Like, yes, if they flip the switch, they're going to put up 50 points. I just like, when do they flip it? Why didn't they flip it last week? You know?
I mean, that's the thing.
Sure.
Dude, I'm with you. I covered the Warriors when they would go around and just honestly, they dick around for 3.5 quarters and then say, "Oh, fine, let's go win." And then they put together a 5-minute stretch. The Chiefs are just the Kevin Durant, Steph Curry Warriors, man, and they'll eventually just say, "Okay, this is AFC Championship game. Let's go." Just like the Warriors waited 2 rounds and then be like, "Okay, here we go. We got the Rockets. Let's really give them the business." Like I think, listen, I'm glad that it's priced in. I'm glad that it's priced in that the Chiefs might not flip the switch, because I'm taking alternate line on this one. I'm pushing this thing up to 7, 8, or 9.
For the record, we should talk about the betting numbers real quick.
Okay.
I do think that the early betting numbers are in favor of the Chiefs. They're getting 56% of the bets, 67% of the dollars.
Yeah.
Now that might just be, like the sharps grabbing a line early in case something happens with Mahomes. And then maybe they'll buy back in later in the week. I do think that the public money, I guess I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Does the public love the Bills enough to bet them against the Chiefs, who have burned public bettors time after time after time recently?
Bills are fun.
The Bills are fun, and the public is not going to be as adroit to the new information on Mahomes as folks like we are, just straight up. Like, when you got folks in Kansas City out here saying he's fine, it was a nerve issue, all that stuff like that. That's not stuff that's necessarily hitting the top wire, because he's still got to go through 5 stages of concussion protocol.
Did you guys see the hit? The nerve thing is the first I've heard, but doesn't that make more sense? Because it didn't look like he smoked. It wasn't helmet to helmet. He didn't really hit his head on the ground. I was so confused by that.
Yeah,
like he pinched a nerve in his neck, according to a guy. That
makes
in
more
Kansas
sense.
City, I know.
Just a routine neck pinch nerve.
Oh, yeah, no, it's the
Those aren't
reminder that
important.
He can't turn his neck to the left right now. So good thing he doesn't need to look at a wide receiver when he throws it to him anyway.
Yeah, I think what he had was like massive sciatica situations happening all around his body, which is awesome. It's a super blood sport, and I'm glad that we love it. But like, that is so much different than being concussed and then having to work your way through it, where you're in a dark room the entire time. Like, if you have the neck thing, and he passed all of his tests according to this guy in Kansas City, like he should be good to at least be a part of practices and stuff. And at this point, you're not doing much, if any, physicality in NFL practices, because you're trying to keep everybody healthy. So it's really just mental stuff. And he should be able to do those mental reps, because he doesn't have to be in complete isolation, which you would have to be if you're in concussion protocol until you clear certain stages. So that kind of stuff is too tricky for SportsCenter to talk about, and it's not going to lead the show until Thursday or Friday, because they got other stuff to worry about. They got LeBron, they got Harden, there's a bunch of other stuff. So I don't think I don't think the public. Yeah, Jesus, I don't think that the public is all the way in on sort of that kind of a thing. Whereas folks who are putting way too much money down on this stuff are living by every update and will frankly believe anything. So hope my information's good. But people do love the Bills. The Bills are going to be, they're everybody's bandwagon team. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Everybody's in on the Bills. They're fun to watch. They have, a great white hope quarterback. There's a lot of reasons why they would be a public team, and yet still people are in on Kansas City, and that's with trepidation. Like, people know that Kansas City is the real deal when they want to be, and now's as good of a time as ever for them to flip the switch. If they don't do it, you get burned again. But I think that's been priced in, honestly. I think that this line should be 4 or 5 easy.
Yeah, I mean, it is a situation where, like, if they're not going to cover the spread, they're going to lose the game for the most part.
That's what I'm saying. So do you feel comfortable with the Buffalo money line bet?
I always like the points, man. I probably don't take enough risk in terms of like the money line payout, but I think that there's a legitimate chance that the Chiefs win this game by 3 points. So I want the 3 points.
I get that, but if you're feeling Buffalo in this one, I mean, a half unit money line bet at plus 140 isn't a bad play at all. If you're feeling it. And honestly, that might be my favorite play other than the over in this one. Like, if we're going to get into it, I want to take that value at 140. Is it the best long-term play? Probably not. You play money line enough, you usually get burned. But if this is going to be a tight game, if this is to the point where I'm saying, hey, I want those points, give me the advantage on the money line. I don't know. Am I off base there, Joe?
I don't think so. I'm kind of with LaMarca. Like, I am just kind of I'm very non-risk averse in a lot of ways, but I rarely bet the money line just because I like he said, I just rather have that out of the points if I was going to be on the Bills. It's just, I don't know. LaMarca, talk about the defense a little bit more for the Bills, because I don't know. I see both these teams having issues on defense. I guess see the Kansas City as being one that can just create turnovers, and Tyrann Mathieu, he's fun to watch. I don't know. I don't know exactly what to think about this game outside of there being a lot of points.
Who's going to get Mahomes on the Buffalo Bills?
Yeah, I mean, it's a terrible matchup for them. I mean, they gave up 472 yards to the Colts. They gave up 340 yards to the Ravens,
who couldn't throw.
They gave up 454 yards to the Dolphins,
who can't throw.
They were better the 3 weeks prior.
Yeah, who'd they play then?
The Patriots, the Broncos, and the Steelers.
You noticing a trend there?
Yeah, I do. All right, so maybe I mean, listen, this is why we have the show, right?
Yeah.
Hey, we're working through some stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm off of that Buffalo money line angle I just had. Thank you, Joe.
Well, I mean, I would love to flip this Stephon Diggs rookie card that I bought just directly after they win the Super Bowl. That'd be a nice little payday, probably. So I want the Bills to win, man. I really do. I don't know. I'm excited to watch this game for sure. The other game doesn't really seem like a ton of fun to watch. Maybe, I don't know.
We'll watch it, but you can get some chores done.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that one's if you have to dedicate yourself to one football game on the day, and the other ones you got to take care of some other business, some other Sunday business. Take care of your Sunday business in the afternoon. Save it for the nighttime, because that's going to be.
I do think
great stuff.
I think we deserve Aaron Rodgers versus Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
Dude, don't tease me.
We just deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a rough year.
It might be Brady though, man. It might be Brady. Either way, I think you're gonna get a great champion and an elite option. I mean, there's no doubt that it'd be more fun if it was Rodgers, but you're gonna get either Tom Brady, the greatest to ever do it, or Aaron Rodgers, who is just unbelievably fun, versus Mahomes or Josh Allen. If the Buffalo Bills win, the next 2 weeks are going to be absolutely insufferable, by the way. The amount of Josh Allen origin stories, they're going to make my ass drive down to the Central Valley and interview people who knew Josh Allen when he was a kid. It's going to suck.
The NFL is fired up though, because there's anyone that ends up there, they can basically put a story around it. So yeah, I will
say I love how big of an L Josh Allen was for the fantasy community.
Everyone, no one knows what the if there is a person out there that can pick quarterbacks correctly, evaluate them. We're always wrong. It's always these second, third options that get drafted that end up being the real deal, unless it ends up being a complete outlier situation. I'm so out on quarterback people in the offseason. They're almost always wrong, man.
The fantasy community has gotten very good at identifying running backs and wide receivers.
Yeah.
We have a long way to go with quarterbacks.
Joe Burrow can't play. Josh Allen can't play. Yeah.
It was the ball velocity. Remember ball velocity Twitter?
Dude,
oh my God.
It's
He
so
doesn't throw the
bad.
ball hard enough to have success in the NFL.
Should
Forget the fact that he won a national title at Clemson and lost like 3 games in his whole life.
Yeah.
He doesn't throw it hard enough.
Yeah.
Jalen
Hurts can't do it. Jalen Hurts can't be effective in the NFL.
To be fair, Jalen Hurts might not be able to do it. We'll find out.
We should wrap LaMarca because I know you want to talk about your boy Deshaun Watson, and I would love to trigger Dieter right now. So I'll just let you have the floor with that one.
Trigger me. That's fine. I'm a big Jets fan now that Robert Saleh's there.
And supposedly so is Deshaun Watson. He's liking
supposedly
he's liking posts from the New York Post saying that the Jets need to go after him. Robert Saleh was supposedly one of his preferred choices at head coach for the Texans.
Okay.
So it would if he truly is available, and it sounds like he is, right? The Texans just cannot rectify this situation. If they have to trade him, the Jets can make the most appealing offer. They have the number 2 pick in this year's draft. Absolutely. They have 2 first-round picks in 2 of the next 3 drafts. They have something like 17 picks in the top 3 rounds over the next couple of drafts.
Yep.
They can put together a tremendous package.
You can have it all. Yeah, I'll take Deshaun Watson. You can have it all. Don't care.
They're the betting favorites. I literally just finished writing a column before we came on here. I don't care if the 49ers have to give up Nick Bosa. I don't care if they have to give up Fred Warner. I don't care if they have to give up George Kittle. The upgrade from Watson to Watson from Garoppolo is the difference between, we go to the playoffs every year and then Tucker out. It's the difference between Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. Just full stop.
Who are some of the other favorites? I don't have a take on this because I'm just chilling Dolphins with Kyler Murray, so it's all good. Dolphins, another one? That'd be cool.
Is it? Maybe.
Yeah, because the Dolphins can put together the number 3 pick plus Tua.
They can trade back the pick that's Houston's rightfully owned.
Right, exactly. They're clearly win now mode.
Right.
They need the quarterback.
Yeah.
And Deshaun Watson, despite the fact that his team won 4 games this year, there's a chance he's the second best quarterback in the league.
Listen, man, I've gone in. I have nitpicked on Watson. I think he runs into too many sacks. I think he doesn't necessarily throw the smartest balls over the middle, but there's no question that he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Right. Yeah.
He's unbelievable. I'm nitpicking because he's brilliant. And this team, this time last year, had a 21-point lead in Kansas City. His team. The fall has been incredible. The odds currently stand, I believe these are from a different place, but New York Jets 2-1, Miami Dolphins 3-1, Chicago Bears 4-1, Denver Broncos 5-1, Colts at 8-1, Patriots at 8-1, Eagles at 10-1.
Broncos would be fun. Broncos would be fun.
The Texans are never in a million years trading Deshaun Watson to the Colts.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen. That's a good thing to. I don't know if I can short that, but
what are the odds that he plays a game for the Texans ever again, or the start of the season? That's got to be out there too, right?
I know that I saw that in my inbox. I can tell you that he is favorited to play for the Texans next year.
Jeez.
But I think it's it's pretty much the VIG.
What an absolutely devastating year for my set. We got McCaffrey back here. We got Barkley, both hurt most of the year. We got Deshaun Watson right above my head. This is just the worst. I'm going to have to move my Stephon Diggs somewhere, but it's just not great.
Protect that.
It was a good year. It was a good year for Travis Kelce. Gronk signed the Patriots helmet?
Yep, I got Gronk, Kittle, and Kelce, kind of that elite tight end corner over there. And then
injured, washed, and Kelce. That's what that is.
Yeah, and then I got a Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown up there because when I first started this, I wanted to pick guys that had done something for me in DFS at some point at a big level. So that's kind of how I started it. And now I have all these kind of older ones that just aren't as fun. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm moving probably in the summer anyway. So this is some of the last NFL shows you'll see this set probably.
Oh man, I'm gonna miss it.
Wow, staying up
green screen in on Zoom.
Yeah, we're just moving. We're just moving buildings. I don't know. It's weird in downtown Minneapolis right now, man. We kind of moved where we did because it was an up and coming area in the city, and there's a bunch of restaurants and stuff. And now all those restaurants are gone. So we're gonna move to probably a different area of the city.
This is why I got washed early and moved to the suburbs way out ahead of time. Just don't worry. I don't need any of that stuff that will eventually leave. I saw this all coming. I should have told you guys about it. Sorry about that.
Mark,
That would have been
you're
nice.
so sharp, Peter.
Yeah, listen, in some things, in other things, not so much. All right, that's the show. Appreciate everybody watching. Use blitzbet.eu for all of your betting needs. These lines are going to get fairly wild, I imagine, over the next couple of days.
Can I
would imagine some
can I throw one caveat out there?
Please throw in a caveat, please.
I always say this towards the end of the year.
Mhm.
Just because the football season is ending, that does not mean you are obligated to bet on these games.
Valid.
If you don't think that these lines have a ton of value, there's no harm in passing. You know,
A
bet some
good pass is as
props.
good as a good bet.
You know, you can speculate in other ways. Go buy some Top Shot packs.
Exactly.
You know,
There it was. There it was.
but
is that what
you
you're
don't,
about to go do?
you don't have to bet on these games. The NFL will be back next year. I promise you. There's NBA games. Baseball is going to be starting up. I always preach against this because if you think it's like during the regular season, we would have 16 games to choose from on some weeks. This week we have 2, and yet these 2 games are going to be so incredibly high bet. Like that there's just not a ton of value. I don't see a ton of value in these lines.
I agree.
I'll find some things to bet on, but just don't go crazy.
Diggs and the captain, call it a day. Easy game.
That's it. That's all we can say. Diggs is the captain. Easy game. Joe Holcomb, Matt LaMarca, Dieter Kurtenbach. I guess we'll talk sometime soon. I don't even know if we're doing a show next week. We'll figure it out. Stay tuned to Line Movement on Twitter and all that good stuff. And yeah, let's bet.eu. See you guys later.